What have you made of the difference, perhaps, that the crowd has made? Have they been as hostile and as passionate as you expected?
Yeah, they have. I mean, there was one moment when Fleetwood was, I think he was on the 8th, and one of his shots went into a bunker this morning, and the commentator said, well, you can't see it, it's gone into the bunker. And I was thinking, well, you certainly can hear it because of the animated and delighted reaction of the American crowd. But it's a little bit naive of them. I understand it's in their mentality and they think it's part of the Ryder Cup. But I don't think it necessarily helps their team. It might pump some of their players up. You've seen some of the American players sort of fist pumping and getting the crowd going. But it certainly plays into the European hands, and they were expecting this. I think Luke Donald actually had a comedian in just to sort of throw insults at the European players, just to sort of prepare them for the type of repartee, should we politely call it, that they're going to get from the American fans. So look, it absolutely hasn't worked so far.
Brilliant. Okay, let's turn our attentions then to the back page of the Mirror. They are reflecting the comments made by Ruben Amorim, the Manchester United manager. The headline, "You choose, you lose." In this article by David McDonnell, he makes the point that Ruben Amorim has warned his United players they cannot pick and choose the games that they turn up and perform in. He's clearly, Mark, pointing at this level of inconsistency that United are performing at the moment, but he's also questioning his own players' mentality, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering which games they've been choosing recently because they haven't won many games. So it's kind of you choose or you lose. It seems to be the way it's going at the moment. Look, I think Ruben Amorim is brilliant for us. He says so many things at his press conference on a Friday. Every time we're on this programme, he's the back page because of what he says. But I think sometimes he just has to think, what effect does it have on the players? How does it make him sound? If he doesn't know after 10, 12 months in the job that what his team is going to do to him, how are they going to play? Are they going to be motivated? Well, that's on him. That reflects on him and the fact that he's not been able to get any consistency out of the team or the players. So, he should know what he's getting out of this team by now. He should know what sort of performance to put in. And, if he's saying that they're picking and choosing the games, like I said, they haven't picked many. So he needs to start getting some results. The next two games for United are massive. They've got Brentford away and Sunderland at home. Now, no game in the Premier League is easy. Certainly not for a team like Man United right now. But they are two games they should win. Now, they won last week against Chelsea. They haven't won back-to-back league games under Amorim, I don't think. So this is a real chance now for him to win back-to-back games and then build on it next week against Sunderland ahead of, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. They play Liverpool at Anfield after the international break. So he has to start getting some results pretty quickly. And these are two great games for him to do that. But, as he says, you can't say which games his players are going to turn up for and which games they're not going to turn up for. Well, they have to turn up tomorrow and they have to turn up against Sunderland next week.
Yeah, also covered in the back page of The Sun, they've gone with the headline, "No more dread devils, here we go for Amorim." Henry, as Mark mentioned there, every time I'm talking to you two on this programme, it's usually about Manchester United and Ruben Amorim. And not because it's, Manchester United not playing well, but it's because of what the manager has said and the way he's conducted himself in front of the media. I'm so interested to hear what's his ultimate goal here? He says all these things, he gets headlines, seemingly for all the wrong reasons. He said to us before that he's going to be emotional, he's going to be honest. What's the gain here from him speaking so honestly about a world-renowned club like Manchester United to the public?
Well, I mean, reading his quotes, what I took from them was more the sort of the Sun stance than the Mirror stance. And actually, he was being quite upbeat. He was almost implying that actually an element of the dread had gone out of it in terms of that headlines or "No more dread devils," is that there was a little bit more confidence. And he did feel that they were stepping out to play. Obviously, they're away tomorrow, but when they do step out, there was a little bit more confidence in the team, and you can see it in one or two performances. Obviously, Brian Mbeumo's come in and he's been good. Matthias de Ligt has actually been one of the centre halves. Certainly of this season. So the last 4 or 5 games, I think he's been sort of outstanding for Manchester United. They've clearly got to sort out and bed in a new goalkeeper. Midfield is a problem. Bruno Fernandes is a fantastic player, but he is not a number 8. He's a 10. So they've got to sort that out. There is, of course, the lingering issue over does this formation 3-4-2-1 suit Manchester United, suit the squad, even though he's culled many of the wingers. But actually, his quotes today, I thought actually slightly more in keeping what we would traditionally expect from a Manchester United manager, which is this is the biggest club in the country, the second biggest club in the world. You are supposed to sort of stand up and fight for your club and not necessarily have a bit of swagger, but a little bit of belief and confidence and exude that defiance about him. And I actually thought, just reading some of his quotes, that he did that today.
Interesting, because he also said that he never knows which version of Manchester United will turn up. If you don't know that as the Manchester United manager, Mark, who does?
Good question. Look, he's got a team. He's got a squad of players that even now he doesn't quite trust. I don't think he needs a midfielder. He needs to sort out the goalkeeping situation. He may not have even signed the goalkeeper he wants by signing Sonny Lamond. So he's having to get his new team playing the way he wants in his new formation with a squad of players that aren't quite familiar with it. But, as we've said before in this programme, he has to compromise sometimes and be a bit more pragmatic and play a system that maybe suits the players he has. If the players he has doesn't suit the way he wants to play, he'll never know what he's going to get because the players don't know what the system means, that how the system is supposed to be played, and they haven't got the right players to play the system. So if he doesn't know what he's going to get, that's on him because he is putting this team together and he's putting the tactics together. So again, I think everybody at United needs to kind of look at themselves a little bit, especially Amorim, and say, look, are we doing it as well as we can? And Amorim is the one person at the club who's not changing anything. He's not looking in the mirror and saying, this isn't working, let's change it. Look, it worked last week against Chelsea. It might work tomorrow against Brentford, and this might be the start of a rise for Man United, but results and performances don't suggest that's going to be the case.
Henry, this feels like a big opportunity for United. After that humbling to Manchester City, they bounced back, didn't they? They ground out the win against Chelsea. This is a chance for them to beat a struggling Brentford side and build some momentum, isn't it?
Yes, but they could be walking into an ambush as well. I mean, the one thing you can guarantee with Manchester United tomorrow is that their fans will be there, they'll be loud, they'll be singing Ruben Amorim's name, whatever private concerns they may have, as Oggy rightly says, about a formation, a system which is not in Manchester United sort of ethos. But yeah, they've absolutely got to deliver. They've got to start servicing this expensive young striker they brought in Benjamin Sesko, and they've just got to believe. But coming back to this debate about his quotes, actually, if you go through them, they're a little bit stronger and more positive than I think some of the headlines are suggesting. But I agree with Oggy. He's got to behave more like a Manchester United manager, more consistently. Maybe just be a little bit more judicious in his press conferences, not be so negative as he has been in the past. But he's not going to change this system. I've talked to coaching friends of his in Portugal, and they're amazed by the criticism of his tactical approach because they say that is what he does. He's not going to change that. So we can talk as much as we want about how the system doesn't work, and I would say it doesn't work, 3-4-2-1. But he's not going to change it. So what do? Do you change the manager, or do you try and get some of these players to deliver a little bit more?
Mark, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I don't think results have been good enough. I think in terms of what he's brought to United, I don't know if they're still the worst performing team in his time at the club in terms of the 17 teams that have been in the Premier League that time, but
formal bid to take over Spurs in the next week. Tottenham, of course, coming out formal bid to take over Spurs in the next week. Tottenham, of course, coming out and saying that the club is not for sale. Henry, what's your understanding of where we're at with this? Because there's clearly mixed messages coming out.
Well, they've already had two approaches in the last month, one from Amanda Staveley and one from an American consortium called Firehawk. And this is another one. But I just don't see the logic of why the Lewis family and Daniel Levy would necessarily want to sell now. Tottenham are in a good place. They've got the NFL deal. They've got a fantastic stadium. They've got a European trophy. They've got an outstanding manager. They've got some good players. They're going places. So I can see why someone would want to offer sort of £4.5 billion for them, well, including what would be spent on transfers. But it would be a strange time to sell Tottenham Hotspur, particularly with television deals, more money coming in from overseas, deals like that. Tottenham are in a good place. They've got their own ground. They've got their training ground. They've addressed the sort of managerial issue, which was obviously a problem last season, certainly domestically. So, and the next generation, the Lewis kids have come in, and they seem pretty passionate about the sort of the project, the club. So, and they've got an outstanding CEO now in Vinay Venkatesham, who can engage with the fans. So the club seems in a good place. So don't see why the Lewises would want to sell it now, unless, of course, they were offered an absolutely astronomical number. And there's obviously a London waiting with Premier League clubs. But it just doesn't. I mean, I'm sure the interest is certainly there, and Americans want to get involved in English clubs for many reasons. But it just doesn't seem sensible for the Lewis family to want to sell. So I can understand why all their statements and indications today was that they're not welcoming any bids.
Yeah, ENIC and the Lewis family have been very clear on the fact that they do not want to sell Tottenham Hotspur. But Mark, I wonder if you find it interesting at all that
being a London club, like Henry says, with a brand new stadium, they've got everything in their favour to be a very kind of good purchase for somebody. Because I mean, London is a huge thing. It's not just the fact that it is London; it's the fact that that the property, the real estate that comes with the ground. That they've got so many things going for them, and the Premier League is the most attractive league in the world. And you look at the sports landscape in the US, where all this money's coming from. The Boston Celtics were sold for $6 billion recently. Now, the Boston Celtics are a huge franchise, but only in that very kind of small North US market. Tottenham are a club with a global footprint. So to buy Tottenham for £4.5 billion would be seen by a US investor or a private equity fund as a good deal. But to Henry's point, if you're ENIC and you're the family, the Lewis family, it's like, well, should we just wait and see how it grows? This is the situation with Man United and the Glazers. The reason the Glazers aren't going anywhere anytime soon is because they know somewhere soon down the line there's going to be a lot more money coming in. It's all about the money. It's not about the sporting element, it's the money. And the money being involved in a Premier League club is so big. But if the Lewis kids decide they want to cast the chips in, well, there's definitely a lot of money waiting for them, because there'll be plenty of people looking to buy Tottenham if Tottenham's available. Even if it's not available, there'll be plenty of people wanting to buy them.
Okay. Let's talk Chelsea now, and this is a bad one for Chelsea fans. Cole Palmer, the flare-up of his groin injury means he'll miss the next 3 games at least. He misses the visit of Brighton, misses the game as well against Benfica, and that massive game against Liverpool. You can see there on the left-hand panel of the Sun, Cole KO hits Enzo. Henry, how big of a loss is this for Chelsea?
Well, it's a big loss, and unfortunately, it's what a lot of people in football have been predicting. When you've got players who, Cole Palmer had a very long season for Chelsea, and then had to go off to the Club World Cup, where he played absolutely outstandingly, and in the end finished up 8th on the Ballon d'Or list because of his work in Europe and in America. But at some point, we have to accept that players, however much they are paid, they're still flesh and blood. A full wallet doesn't protect you from groin strains and blood. A full wallet doesn't protect you from groin strains and injuries. Levi Cole was slightly different because that was he did his ACL, and one or two of the players who've come back injured or have been subsequently injured post Club World Cup, there've been contact injuries. But it's really unfortunate that that this for a month, which is frustrating for him, frustrating for Chelsea. They've still got good players. I mean, Estavio Willian is a fantastic player who you can play as a 10, you can play out wide as well. So it's a fairly small violin being brought out from Maresca in terms of team selection. But for Cole Palmer, who loves playing, and for England, who are going to miss him for 2 important internationals, it's a frustration. But, if we keep on overplaying these players, this is what's going to happen.
Overplaying. Interesting that you mentioned that, because we spoke to Stilian Petrov earlier on the Premier League Friday. He suggested that maybe Cole Palmer could improve his physique, get a bit stronger. Would that help in preventing injuries like this, Mark?
We've got the time to rest and train to kind of get fit. I was speaking to somebody about this earlier, and I just made a list of the players that went to the Club World Cup and have been injured since the start of the season. Big players: Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembele, Cole Palmer, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Marquinhos, Leon Delap, all with hamstring strains, thigh strains. A lot of these players have had less than 3 weeks rest in the summer. So how they're supposed to recover from the season mentally and physically, and then get the fitness up for this season. So I think Cole Palmer's a victim of that. He's had two groin strains now this season. We're only not even October yet. It's still September. So it's because the players are being overworked. And, whether Cole Palmer needs to work on his physique or not, he just needs to rest a little bit more. I think that's the key: rest, and then have a game every 4 days rather than every 5 or 6 games every 2 weeks.
One player who is definitely not injured at the moment and in the form of his life, and has been probably for the last, 2 seasons. There's the webpage on The Sun reporting here that Harry Kane making history as he breaks Cristiano Ronaldo and Erling Haaland's incredible shared record. He's reached 100 goals in just 104 games. Henry, does Harry Kane get the credit he deserves? He gets the plaudits when he plays for England, and he does at major tournaments. But week in, week out, this man is so consistent. Should we be mentioning him in the same breath as Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi?
Is anyone ever going to catch Harry Kane's England record? Even he declares now, and he's probably got another 2 years left in him of scoring. He could sort of push it up into the 90s. With Bayern Munich, it's brilliant. He's gone out there. He's playing fantastically. The Oktoberfest has obviously come early for their fans with Harry Kane doing this. But, there was talk about, would he come back to England, and would he like a shot at Alan Shearer's record? Harry is on 213 Premier League goals. Shearer is obviously 260. And he's 32 now, but you just don't put. I hope Alan's not watching, but you don't put anything past Harry Kane. I think he would need to sort of come back next year and give it maybe 2 seasons to have a go at it. But you just can't put anything past him. So coming back to your point, I just think his standards week in, week out, off the pitch, he's probably watching the Ryder Cup at the moment, but he is a phenomenon. He is an absolute role model of dedication, and he didn't have exactly the easiest of starts. He had to go out on loan, sitting on the bench next to Jamie Vardy at Leicester games, went on loan to Orient and other places, but through sheer dedication, through working on dart, through working on fitness, through working on either foot, just a supreme professional. I think you're right. I think we'll probably appreciate him when he's actually not playing and scoring week in, week out, and we'll go, oh, who's going to play up front for England?
Yeah, it might be one of those. We're just coming to time, Mark, but briefly just explain how Harry Kane has managed to do this so well. You've got about 20 seconds.
Well, like Henry said, a dedication, a consummate professional, and somebody that's looked after himself, and he's just got a great goal-scoring instinct. So Henry's right, an absolute great. I think he's, Lewandowski, that kind of level. He's up there, the tier 2 behind Ronaldo and Messi, but a superb footballer, great striker. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Mark Ogden and Henry Winter, thank you for joining us on Back Pages. If you missed any of the show, there's another chance to